all of the areas that we've covered so far are set up areas. Obviously, you're setting up all of your rules, etc. Your employee, typically you won't go back in and maintain this very often unless you are changing somebody's status in some form or setting them up on a different roster pattern, or adding an allowance which they don't already have, etc. But typically this information here does not get changed. The roster calendar we looked at showed you the employees roster calendar, but we also have a roster calendar where you can see a group of employees. So if you click on the roster calendar, this shows you what your work patterns, roster patterns, shift patterns, etc. are for the current week, and you can scroll forward, or you can click on the calendar and go forward to any future date that you wish to go forward to, so you can see that information going forward. It shows you your Monday to Sunday, or whatever your week patterns are. This shows you the employees in numeric code order. That's the default order, but you have a filter here, which we'll talk about in a second. So what you're seeing here is each day of the week going forward. Now, if I wanted to change an employee's daily rule or an expectation of what they're going to do, for example, I could come here to Ingrid and say on that particular day, which is Thursday the 30th, she's going to change into being a cleaner, and I save that. And because she will be very tired after doing that, she might then need to have a day's holiday pay. When I choose one of the leave methods, it asks me how many hours or how many days I want to pay. So if it's in hours, then you would enter 8 or whatever the appropriate number is. If it's in days, you'd enter 1 or a fraction of 1, and you save that. So what we're doing here with this change is that we are setting up the expectation that the employee will do something different on this calendar day. If it was a permanent change, we would change the employee's default roster template. But in this exercise, we're just changing this one day to be something different from normal. And again, I can go forward and look at a different day, and I can say, okay, on this particular day, this person has asked for some alternative leave, and I can put that into the system. So that will then set that up, and I can then carry forward and look at the other employees. The other things I can do in here is I can go in and filter the screen. So for example, if I was looking to change my sort order, so I wanted to sort this by department, then I can sort that, and then I will get all of my salespeople grouped together, or my factory grouped together, my cleaners grouped together, and my admin grouped together. And now, so from rostering perspective, I can see then what my rostered hours are by employee, by day, for the group of employees, and also for the total hours for the employee for that particular period. So it gives me a view of how my roster looks, if that's the way I want to look at it. I can also come in here and search just for a particular department. So I'm only interested in people who are the cleaners, and I can do search on that, and now I'll only get the cleaners. Or I can come in here and I can clear that and say, right, I'm looking for anyone who is got some holiday coming up in this particular period. If I can find my holiday, or they've got some alternative leave coming up in this particular period. And now applying that filter gives me the ability to see, I'm just going to clear that other one out. It highlights any employee. Now you'll see the color has changed. If I go forward, I'll see a holiday pay one there. I can now see another holiday pay. And if I chose, for example, alternative leave, I could come in here and say if this was alternative leave, then I would get a different color set again. So now I can see, and by using the color patterns, you can look for like employees who've got like rules. So it gives you an advantage where you can actually see what's going on. If you hover over one of these daily rules, it'll tell you what the expected start and finish time is based on the rule setup plus its name. So you can effectively roster any event, whole day event, in the future by using this particular thing. If I drill back into the employee, it will take me back to the employees screen. But I can come in here and look and see what's going on. If I'm changing my rosters around, I can get them color coded. So I will get a total number of hours rostered for the entire company and also for the week for the employee. And I can also, if I choose to, print this roster out. So I simply come up here, choose the print option, put it into landscape, and then it would give me the roster, but it's not going to today. So then once I've got that, I can go forward or change that. So this is just a bigger view of the same information that you get at an employee level, but it's useful if you're trying to see what's going on with employees across a particular period.